Boy and Gymnastics Girl, Secret Agents, a true story by Cogdell.
True.
So did you write it in Bethany?
Illustration, she made the pictures.
Bethany made the
drew the pictures.
She drew the pictures. All right, I mean, an excellent artist, and I think Thomas put the pictures up there so you can
Yeah, so
along.
all of you can see the pictures that she reads.
Okay, so now everyone, I'm going to start now. Everyone knows that Jesus loves children. Very few realize how important they are in his kingdom. Many children serve Jesus as secret agents, going where adults cannot go, bringing good news, caring for the lonely, and being friends with the poor, just like Jesus did when he was on earth. I know this is true because I met some of these secret agents when I was young. They changed my life. This is a story about two of those secret agents, or rather three, I suppose. To tell the story properly, I must start in a sad place. When I was very little, only 3 years old, my daddy left our family. He felt sad and ashamed of things he had done. He felt like he could not be a good father or husband anymore, so he ran away. That was not the way I felt about him. I loved my daddy. He was tall and strong and lots of fun. I always laughed when we played together. Sometimes he carried me on my shoulders and I felt like a giant. When I was on my daddy's shoulders, nothing could touch me. One day I noticed that Daddy had not been home for a while. I missed him and wondered where he had gone. Mama, I asked, when is Daddy coming home? She pulled me into her arms and started crying hard. She squeezed me so tight I couldn't breathe. I felt hot and trapped and scared. He is never coming home, she sobbed. All the world around me seemed to turn black. Time slowed to a halt. I wanted to run away, but Mama would not let go. I wanted Mama to stop crying, but she couldn't. I wanted to take back my question, but I couldn't. Our lives had changed forever. My daddy never came back, but I had a father in heaven. We all have a father in heaven who never leaves. He saw me that day and he loved me, though I could not see him. He wanted me to know his love, so he began looking for agents to send, people who would show me his kindness. That's why he sent Jesus to earth many years ago, so Jesus could show us all how much the Father loves us. When Daddy left, Mama had to work. I needed a babysitter. There was a neighbor down the street who kept children in her house, so Mama sent me there. Now, in case you're wondering about those secret agents I mentioned, I have not forgotten. You're about to meet one of them. This story just lets you know how badly I needed a friend of Jesus. My first day started out great. The neighbor boy had an awesome Fisher-Price garage. I loved pushing cars down the curved ramp and clicking the little pump nozzle into the gas tank. I didn't get to play with boy toys very often. Well, here's the picture. Oh, we're getting there. Our leader wanted to look under the bed. Perhaps he was looking for a lost toy, or maybe he wanted to build a fort under the bunk bed frame. I don't remember. It was dark under the bed. He needed more light, so he told me to lift the corner of the mattress. That was fascinating. I had never seen the skeleton of a bed before. The mattress was held up by a bridge of wire mesh, and the boy's fingers moved in and out between those wire squares. Soon the mattress began to feel heavy. I wondered how long I could keep it up. What if I dropped it? Would it pinch those fingers? Would it hurt? What if it slipped? What if I couldn't stop it? Thud. The mattress slipped out of my grip and the boy screamed in pain. Why did I drop it? Was it curiosity, or fear, or naughtiness, or an accident? I'm not sure. I just know the babysitter was furious. She yelled at me and dragged me into the living room. I had to stand with my nose in the corner while all the children stared at me. I felt so ashamed and afraid, and all the sadness of losing my dad, of seeing my mother cry, of feeling all alone. That sadness erupted like a volcano, and I sobbed and sobbed and could not stop. What if Mama walked in and found me that way? Then she would be ashamed of me too. And that fear made me cry even harder until I felt sick in my stomach. I don't remember how that awful day ended. I never rejoined the other children, and I never told my mother what happened. She never asked, but she must have heard because I never went back to that house. Instead, I started daycare. So now we are at part 2, Carrot Stick Boy. Daycare was horrible. It was full strangers. After the mattress incident, I was afraid of other children and adults. I was scared I would do something wrong or embarrassing, and I felt sure other kids would not like me. Each day, I worried that Mama might not come back. She might get hurt, or she might forget. She might go away like Daddy. I was terrified, so I spent my time sitting in the corner, away from other kids, sucking my thumb. Yeah. There was a rule in that daycare I hated. Dessert was only for children who ate everything on their lunch tray. That was a problem. I loved dessert, but I was a picky eater. Unfamiliar foods never passed my lips. So I never got dessert.
Nice.
Until something wonderful happened. One day we had pinto beans for lunch. I loved pinto beans. I quickly emptied my bowl. However, there was one item left on the tray. Want to guess what it was?
Carrot.
A single carrot stick. Just one sliver of vegetable between me and ice cream. So close, yet so far. Carrots were not my friends. A boy, slightly older and taller, looked over at me and asked, "Are you going to eat that carrot stick?" I felt embarrassed. I didn't know why he was asking, but it seemed rude, possibly dangerous not to answer. "No," I replied shyly. "Then give it to me," he commanded. I obeyed, thinking maybe he wanted to eat it himself. Instead, he took my carrot stick and hurled it over the chain-link fence. "There," he grinned, "no more carrots. You get ice cream." I sat stunned. Half of me cringed, afraid we would get punished. The other half wanted to sing and dance and laugh. I felt thankful and happy and free, the way our Father in heaven likes for his children to feel. Carrot Stick Boy and I did not get caught. We both ate ice cream, and it was delicious. Now that I'm grown up, I like carrot sticks. And to be clear, I disapprove of wasting food or breaking. But when Jesus was on earth, he often surprised good religious people by going against their traditions. Sometimes Jesus ate with unwashed hands or healed someone on the Sabbath, shocking the people around him. However, the rules Jesus broke were not commandments straight from God. Jesus always obeyed his Father perfectly. And often his Father told him to touch lepers, or speak to women, or eat dinner with sinners, even when others did not approve. Everything Jesus did, he did for love. Jesus loved people exactly the way God, his Father, wanted him to. And I'm convinced that Carrot Stick Boy did what Jesus would have done. He noticed me, he cared, and when he threw that vegetable over the fence, he showed me the Father's love. May there be many more 5-year-olds like a Carrot Stick Boy. Part 3, Gymnastics Girl.
Gymnastics girl.
When Mama realized how much I hated daycare, she made a new plan. She took me and my little sister to live with her parents in a small town way out in the desert. My sister Krista and I loved our grandparents, Mimi and Gid, and we liked Denver City. Even so, I was sad when Mama left. Krista was a good friend. We liked to play in the backyard with our ball and our swing set. We had a small dollhouse which opened in the middle. I loved peering into that dollhouse and imagining what our brick house looked like to God. I knew he could see through our roof and our walls, just like I could see into my dollhouse. What was better, he could see right into me and look at all my thoughts and feelings. Thinking about how God knew everything about me always made me feel safe. While we lived in Denver City, I grew a lot. I was exceptionally tall and heavy for my age. My sister was thin and graceful like my grandmother. I was big and awkward, and I could tell my grandfather was ashamed of the way I looked. When I started kindergarten, I discovered just how big and shy I really was. I towered over the other kids and weighed twice as much as some of them. I'll tell you how I know. This is not in the book, but there was a stupid scale in the... I made a stand on the scale. It was awful. I still remember exactly how much I weighed in kindergarten. Anyway.
Is that standard procedure for seriously?
I tried really hard not to do anything embarrassing so no one would notice me. Then something wonderful happened. Krista and I moved back in with Mama. She had gotten remarried and the 4 of us settled into a new home in Lubbock. There was a little girl at the end of my block named Susan, and she wanted to be my friend. I could not believe it. Susan was everything I was not. She was small and pretty, outgoing and funny, and she was the most talented person I had ever met. Susan was a gymnast. Her room was filled with trophies and ribbons from competitions. Susan could do flip-flops, handsprings, and cartwheels with no hands. She could vault and swing on bars and tell jokes. She listened to the radio and knew what music was popular. Susan wore trendy clothes. She knew who had a crush on whom at school. That was always a mystery to me. It still is.
I like you.
But the best thing about Susan was that she liked me, and she wasn't ashamed of me. Susan taught me to do cartwheels. She taught me to hula hoop. By second grade, I could beat all of my friends at hula hoop, including Susan. I rode bikes with her, played soccer with her, and learned to do flips on the trampoline. All the time, my body was growing stronger and slimmer, and I was becoming happier and more confident. Susan's love was changing me because she was one of God's secret agents. I doubt that Susan knew she was a secret agent. She was just being herself, doing what came naturally. But she did love Jesus. And when people love Jesus and trust him, he comes to live inside them. He helps them see like he does, noticing people who are lonely or poor or sad. And he helps them know what to say and do. Anyone who does what Jesus would do is a secret agent. No grown-up could have loved me the way Susan did. She changed my life. Here's the last part of the book. Ready? Secret Agent Amy. Here is one way you can recognize secret agents in the kingdom of God. They inspire other people to become agents. I wanted to be brave like Carrot Stick Boy and kind like Susan, so I asked God to sign me up for duty. I was a bit older, 8 or 9, when I started looking for assignments. By that time, God's love had become so real and wonderful to me that I wanted to share it with everyone. I started by inviting all the kids on my block to a meeting. We sat in a circle under a tree in Susan's yard. I told them all that I knew about Jesus. That took about 3 minutes. Then we prayed. We felt happy knowing we'd done something important all on our own without grown-up help. My heart grew bigger and braver the more I knew Jesus. I looked for lonely kids at school and asked them to sit with me at lunch. I started singing worship songs out loud on the school bus. Other kids liked the songs and gathered round to listen. That was in the 4th grade, my last year in Lubbock.
Man, I wish you were at my school.
That's seconds. 60 seconds is actually.
In the spring of my 4th grade year, our family moved to New Mexico. But before I left Lubbock, God had one last assignment for this agent. I was invited to a birthday sleepover from my friend Elise. I went just planning to have fun, not realizing it was a special assignment. Nevertheless, secret agents are always ready for action. That night, a dangerous storm blew into town. A tornado siren blared, and Elise's parents shuffled us girls into a large closet for shelter. When the door shut, some of the girls started crying. They were scared and wanted to go home. The truth is, I was usually terrified of tornadoes myself, but when I saw my friends crying, the Spirit of God filled me with love. I felt brave, even joyful. Girls, I said, don't be afraid. God is with us. He can protect us from the storm. And if he lets the storm come, we don't have to fear. We just die and go to heaven and be with him. This is still a common sermon around here. I knew it was true. We were safe in his arms. The girls stopped crying. We could all feel the peace of God's Spirit. I could also feel God smiling at me and laughing, proud of his secret agent who used to be afraid of talking to other kids. God loved me when I was a child, just as he loves me now that I'm a grandmother. He knew me when I was a scared and lonely little girl, and he sent his secret agents to show me his love and to heal me. God is still looking for kids who will be his secret agents, going where no adults can go. He would love to send you. Would you like to be a secret agent?
Yeah.
Daniel, do you have a question?
In that part of the story, when you put together the meanings, was my mom yet?
What's your mom?